Thank you everybody for your attendance and being here. And my attempt at, I think it's my 10th musical. I wrote my first one in 60, what was it, Pam? When Uhuru was 68? 68? 68. Oh, Lajma, yeah, Lajma, my cousin, and Pam. Yes, we did Uhuru, and it took us to New York. We were at the Boarding House Theater on Bush Street, and it was our first legit book show. And from that, I've written, this is the 10th show. And my form of writing musical theater is, you know, I'm not a musician. I really can't play the piano. And I was discouraged after I wrote Uhuru, and the way I'm like Irving Berlin. When I was so enchanted and delighted to learn that Berlin was not that accomplished musician that wrote musicals. He just had this incredible ear for melody and harmonies and counterpoint and all those things. And he wrote all those wonderful shows, Annie, Get Your Gun, and Call Me Madam, all that stuff with the help of an assistant. And all my career with the 10 shows I have done, I have had to rely on the talent of musicians to help me transcribe what I'm hearing onto paper. Oscar Brown Jr. was the same way with his musical Kicks and Company. You know, some people just, I have an incredible ear for music. I'm just telling you. I learned about counterpoint from Leonard Bernstein and West Side Story. I studied technically in my mind everything that he did with counterpoint. A Boy Like That, Kill Your Brother. When he did that, I was only, what, 9, 10 years old, but it blew me away that Anita could sing her point and then Maria say, it isn't so, oh, no, Anita, no. It was just, I just was blown away. So technically, it opened my head to the battle of counterpoint and what that means and how to use it. And every show that I've ever done, I've always used that form. So this, with regard to all the shows that I've done, has come from the same process. I'm going to tell you a little of the history. People have been wanting me to do this piece since before my mother died. My mother died in '03. And you know, I grew up in the lower Pacific Heights of the city, 2003 Pine Street. And my mother ran successfully after hours in the basement of our house because my father, who was a carpenter, had transformed the basement into a club, a nightclub. We had a beautiful bar, lights, tables, it was all that. And this was in the mid-50s. And every Saturday night, she would open that house up and colored people would come there and party until dawn. They would start maybe at 10 or 11 o'clock. By 1 o'clock or whatever, it would be half full. After 2, you couldn't get in because, you know, it's like in those days, people didn't want to go home. It was an incredible, I was telling Jeffrey the other night, you know, they would party, those Negroes, they would party all night long. 6 o'clock, they would go to Jack's of Sutter Street and hear sunrise jazz. Listen now, here's sunrise jazz at 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, they go home, get the kids up, cook breakfast, get them ready for Sunday school, and then go to church at 11 o'clock service. Get out of church at, what, 1, 2, go home, lay down, take a nap for an hour or so, and then get up and do dinner. They were an incredible group of individuals, not only in San Francisco, but it was all over America in the black community. This was going on. This was how we were living when we were shut out, segregation, oppressed. It was interesting that we were going through so much with ourselves because we weren't allowed into mainstream America. But when we had so little, we had so much, and we had no idea. So if Dr. King were alive today, and he's seen what happened to the African American community, he would be appalled and saddened and shocked. So Mama ran that after hours. In the 50s, it was glorious. In the 60s, it changed because we were no longer colored people, no longer Negroes, we were black in the 60s. And then we were Afro-Americans. And then in the 80s, crack came in. The crack epidemic happened to black America, and it devastated our social life, our cultural life. Everything changed for us. No longer did we have house parties. Isn't that sad? Black people used to have all house parties every weekend. They don't do that no more because they can't trust people, strangers, to come into their house to party. You know, when we were growing up, I mean, Fillmore would be alive with cars and people and everybody asking, who's having a party tonight? And say, oh, Maxine Stewart is having a party on Bush Street. And strangers would go to Maxine's house and party. And Maxine would open the door and say, come on in, baby. Come on in, girl. The drinks are over there, and I got some chicken and some potato salad over here.
That's right.
All of that was our culture. And all that's gone. All that doesn't exist anymore. Everything is different. Everybody's scared of everybody, and people don't want to speak to each other. It's just a different world. So this is a memory piece. And people have asked me for the last 30 years, Danny, when are you going to do a show about your mamas after hours and the Fillmore? So you know the Fillmore is in the news. Lewis Watts and Elizabeth Peanut just did a book called Harlem of the West. You need to check it out. It's a pictorial history of the Fillmore and the jazz era of the 50s and the 60s. And they interviewed me a year or so ago, and so I'm all through the book. They got quotes from me all through that book. But there is a tremendous interest in the Fillmore again, because it never will be what it was, like our ex-mayor Willie Brown said. It's not, that's never gonna come again, that's gone. So this is a memory piece, and I'm so grateful that Emily Cleon Brooks came to me and said, I want to find you a little money so you can just stay home and just start working on this idea. Because I think it's exciting, you know? And it happened, and I started working on it. So I have more, but because of the time constraints, look at you. I have more of it, but the time constraints, I can't do it all. And I only had 3 days in preparation just to do this much of it.
How many days?
3 different days.
I want to make sure they heard that.
3 days. We only have 3 days to put it together. So Wayne Wallace was my music transcriber, and Maestro Curtis, and Miss Tina Bryant is a protege, a maestro, and she's going to handle what she can. You know, my shit is not easy to sing. All singers, all my shows, everybody, Michelle has told me, they all tell me, Rob says, you know, it's not easy what you're asking singers to do. It's not easy, but because I'm fresh and free and uninhibited in what I hear, and I just go for it. So, Rob Robinson, Rob Llewellyn Robinson, protege, good friend, collaborator on many, many works, Miss Andrea Brimbry. She's been with me for over 25, almost 30 years. She was one of the stars of my award-winning Billy song that I won the Best Musical Award in 1983. I think it was 83. 83. So Andrea dates back that far. Jeffrey Heiss. He's me and Emily Keeler Goldstein. He's our little boy. We found him when he was 7 years old at Glen Park School, and he's been in our lives. He's been in our lives ever since. So he's my boy, he's my little boy. He's a man now, he's 22, and very gifted, and we're just pleased to have him here. And this lady next to him is Queen Michelle George. This lady is musical theater royalty for black people in the Bay Area. She really is. TheaterWorks, Robert Kelly loves her. TheaterWorks loves her. They have hired her year after year after year to do all the leads in their black shows. You know, the thing I loved about Robert Kelly and TheaterWorks, every season, Kelly always say, I'm gonna do something for black people. I'm gonna give them something of theirs. So Michelle has done it for him many, many times. She was the lead in Dreamgirls, among so many other things, and she was my lead when Kelly and the TheaterWorks company did my Go Down Garvey in 1991. She was the lead in that film. Find a talent in the Bay Area. She is our Audra McDonald here in the Bay Area. And this brother here is my Peebo Bryson. He's my leading man. He has known me for many, many years, and he is musical theater royalty in the Bay Area as well. And his name is Michael Leroy Brown. So they are a stellar group of artists, and I am so proud that they found the time to come in the last 3-4 days and get up as much as they could with this material to do a presentation for you. Now understand, you are not going to hear the entire first act. You're going to hear a portion of it, enough that you will understand where it's going. And the rest will be forthcoming. But take a breath, think back to another time, another place, when the Fillmore was alive and happening. And I'm going to turn it over to the company. And Jeff, yes, thank you. And I'll talk after. Oh, one other thing. You know, I grew up, Cecil B. DeMille was my hero. Mr. DeMille, the Ten Commandments, Samson and Delilah, all that shit turned me on. I thought he was the most incredible being on the planet Earth, that anybody could get that many people together to do a movie. I loved him. He was my hero. So producers, Emily's told me, Kelly's at theater work, say, Danny, we just can't afford it. It's too big. We want too many people. So all my shows, I have casts of 20. Billy's song was what, 25 people. Garvey was how many people? 20-something. Kelly said, Danny, theater works, we could never do that again. They did that in '91. He said, Danny, your stuff is wonderful, but Danny, we don't have that, nobody have that kind of money no more. You've got to write shows that are economical. Give me a show, Danny, where I can just hire 12 people. I said, Kelly, 12? I said, at least 18. Oh, no, Danny, no. You got to bring it down. It's too expensive. But this piece is so episodic. It has so many characters in and out of the story, because this is a continuation of every Saturday night. Different characters, different people come through and live, speak, and so forth and so on. So, for example, Andrea will be playing 2 and 3 people. Michelle will be playing 2 and 3. Rob will be, all of them with the exception of Jeffrey, will be playing other people as well as named characters. So you'll see what the difference is and try to stay hitched to it. Okay, take a breath, you guys, as again.